meeting of the Oregon City Metro Enhancement Committee for June 11, 2015 to order. First order of business, well, I guess let's do a roll call just for fun. Michelle.
Phoebe O'Leary. Here. Ray Gordon.
Is excused.
Leslie Woods.
Excused.
Renata Mengelberg.
Here.
Rocky Smith.
Rocky may be here. It depends on traffic.
Yeah. Carlotta Collette.
Here.
Brian Shaw.
Here.
Carol Polly.
Here.
And Dan Holliday.
Here. Okay, so approval of minutes for the May 29th, 2014 meeting. Okay, there we go. Got a motion, thank you. Somebody's on the ball.
I will second.
Okay, so moved to approve the minutes by Councilor Collette and seconded by Commissioner Polly. I'm going to call the roll.
Okay. On approval of the minutes, Carol Paul or Brian Shaw.
Aye.
Phoebe O'Leary.
Aye.
Renata.
Aye.
That leaves
Aye.
Carla. Yep, thanks.
Aye. Aye.
We'll do that next time.
I'm trying to do it where, you know.
Okay.
Okay, moving on.
So comment by the mayor, conflict of interest. Was I supposed to have something written down for this?
No, if you had any comments, but also if anybody has a conflict of interest with any, they sit on a board or whatever for any of these grant applications, we'd like to make sure and have that on record.
So any
I'm not sure.
actual or potential conflicts?
Yeah, I'm not sure that mine is a conflict of interest, but it's the Willamette Falls project, and I'm obviously very active with that project. The grant doesn't affect me, but
I think we can safely say that that's not the case. So.
okay.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I have 3.
Ask a busy person.
She's so engaged.
That's right. I'm the vice president on the Main Street Oregon City Board. I'm a partner on the Willamette Falls Legacy Project, and I'm a member of the Oregon City Chamber of Commerce.
Of those 3, I would say that you would need to recuse yourself from the vote on, if we get to an individual vote on the Main Street stuff.
That makes sense.
If we get there. I'm not sure that we will.
Is that standard?
I don't remember.
Well, I think given that you're that high up in the organization, I think it presents a better, what's the word I'm looking for? Perception.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Mayor Holliday, I'll probably, since Carol brought that up, I'm actually a member of the chamber also via the Optimist Club. So it's
yeah. Okay, so we took care of that. So the first thing we need to talk about is we have a letter here from Marketplace Oregon City. Dear Committee, on behalf of the Marketplace Oregon City, we are writing to retract our grant application for the 2015-2016 MEC grant year. Our board decided that the project would not allocate any of the grant dollars for this current season, and we will wait till next year's grant season to request grant monies. We will have a better idea of what amount of grant dollars we will request and where we would allocate those resources after this initial season is over. Thank you for the opportunity to apply for the grant. We'd like to express thanks for looking over our application. Best regards, Britt Jenkins, MPOC President. So that puts $25,000 more into the pot. Also, we had, who else?
We have 2 requests for extension.
Right. So,
If you'd like, Mayor Holliday,
Yes.
Wyatt Parno can give you kind of a funding update if needed.
okay, so Wyatt, you want to handle this 4A thing on the agenda? Give us a general overview and where we're at.
Yes, sir. Happy to do that, Mayor. And then once I do that, I think the other question that you were referring to is probably, we talked about the Marketplace pulling out, and then also the Clackamas Community College Foundation issue about whether they had an application that they had submitted.
We're going to come up to that after we talk about
Okay.
you.
So with grant funding, we Well, up to that point, we had $173,000 in grant requests, and so we're going to make that determination. And I want to tell you that we do have available funding to meet the requests. Yeah, we have carryover of about $114,000 from the prior year, and then a revenue this year is budgeted about $210,000. And we budgeted conservatively, knowing that Metro has gone through a comprehensive process of reviewing the grant program, and additional funds have been allocated for granting, changing the fee from 50 cents per ton to $1 per ton. Thank you, Commissioner Follett. And so we expect to have adequate revenue next year to cover all these grant requests, should they meet your requirements.
Okay.
Boy, that makes our job easier.
Yeah.
Substantially easier.
We'll probably get more requests next year, though.
That's good.
Yeah.
Okay, so that takes us down to agenda item 5, request for extension. We have 2 of those, the Main Street Oregon City extension request and the Oregon City High School extension request. Staff have anything to say about these 2, Michelle?
I was just checking to see Oregon City High School. Their request has come in from this grant year's project up at Atkinson Park. They were not able to complete it, if you recall, because they were still trying to finish up the stage down at the end of the Oregon Trail Center. Mm-hmm. So they have not even started an Atkinson Park project, and thus the reason for their request.
Okay, and Main Street?
And Main Street, I will defer to Jonathan Stone. They had a few changes in their project. I shouldn't say changes, not changes.
Changes. Good evening, Jonathan Stone, I'm the Executive Director of the Main Street Oregon City, as well as a resident of Oregon City. When we first applied for the grant back a year ago, I suppose, we were in a very different funding picture for our organization. But as many of you know, that the Economic Improvement District did not pass, and so what we were assuming we'd have available for cash match essentially did not present itself, and so we made it as far as purchasing all of the equipment we needed for the tree lights downtown, as well as banners and what have you. So the project is sort of, but when we sort of hit that wall, we just hit the pause button on the on pursuing the remainder of the grant until we had a better picture as to what our outcome was going to be. And so, but we've been able to sort of sort through all that, and we are able to finish out at least a portion of the grant, and the goal is to completely finish putting in tree lights downtown, which when we first put them up in November, I'm pretty sure everyone was pretty thrilled with. So we want to get back up there and fix the ones that maybe need a little fixing, and then expand the project, which is why we've requested the grant extension. But based upon
and you're giving back $12,000,
right? So initially we requested $25,000, but at this point we know we won't need at least $12,000 of that. So we're asking you to keep open $13,000 of the grant request. So
okay, thank you.
So why are the other monies, the monies they're not using, did that go back in the pot? Correct. They already did?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Okay, so I would entertain a motion, unless anybody has any question about the Oregon City High School thing, I'd entertain a motion to grant those 2 requests.
I move to approve the extension request.
Second.
Let's just do this by voice vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Review and discuss grants. So the first thing we have to talk about is Clackamas Community College. And apparently the college sent their grant request at 4:48 on Friday via email, and it did not arrive at the city in time. Apparently there was some glitch somewhere, whether somebody closed a computer or something else happened, but it did not arrive at Oregon City until 10 a.m. on the next day. This may seem a bit technical, but for years I have been bidding on projects, submitting RFPs and RFQs, and if you're even 5 seconds late, you're done. There is no, and our deadline says 5 o'clock on that Friday, right?
Yeah, it was 5 o'clock on, I believe, Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Sorry. Yeah.
So it's my opinion that in order to maintain our rules, that we really can't consider that request. But I would leave that up to the discussion of the committee.
I guess I would have a different opinion. They provided extensive documentation about what the glitch was, and that it was indeed sent before the deadline. And I've had it happen to me many times where I've sent something, there's no error message, there's no reason to believe that it didn't go through, and that happens. So I would be inclined to be lenient in this case.
Carolina?
I would agree. I was going to ask if there was documentation of the deadline and if they're trying to email it and it being stuck somehow electronically. Having spent a good deal of today trying to get materials from Oregon City, I know how sometimes that happens. So given that they can document that they sent it in time for the deadline, it just didn't get here because of excuse me, technical issues, I would consider them.
Let me add a little bit to that. So this $25,000 is not even a half of a drop in the bucket of this particular project. And I would anticipate that they'll probably come back next year for a piece of this. And maybe we can consider, giving them more this next year. But I really have a problem changing the rules. And when, I bid to Multnomah County or to the city of Oregon City, they don't care whose fault it is. They don't care why it didn't happen. If it's not there and postmarked by 5 p.m., that's the deal. So I have a real hard time bending these kinds of rules, because once you start doing that, it changes the game. Mr. Shaw?
Right, how does this $25,000 affect whether we do it or not?
It doesn't.
I think funding's kind of a moot point because you have the funding allocation either way.
So if we do it, it's still there and able to do. Okay.
Correct.
No, just be recognized. Go ahead.
Well, I think the other issue is that they have a deadline to match the larger budget. And I'm not sure what that deadline is, but I think it's before next May or June. So I would, again, just say that it was not there.
Is there a representative from the college here to talk about this? I understand, sir. I support the project. I just...
Mayor, no, I've been on the same side as the mayor. I've done this for 40 years, done federal grant stuff. I don't know if we can consider the postmark being the one that we submitted the thing for. I honestly don't know what happened. I haven't had this happen before. But Commissioner Collette's is correct that the deadline for matching the larger money is currently December 31st, which is why we do it in this year instead of next year. It would have made more sense next year, but right.
Have we had any kind of a determination from council?
I think, the bylaws say that the information must be received by 5 o'clock. And that does create some complications in this modern world where you have, you sent it it takes some time. We had a system outage today at Oregon City, and so those things do happen. Given that those are the bylaws, I mean, this is the body that approves those bylaws and could make changes and could override. So there's not a legal binding contract. It's not in the Metro rules, so it's the bylaws of this group. So if there were a vote, I don't know if there's specific rules about how to change bylaws, but I believe you could override. I don't think we need a separate attorney opinion because there's not in this case, another legally contracted party.
Well,
It just makes me nervous.
Yeah, I do think this is a judgment call, and there is documentation that it was sent. I don't like it when people wait to the last minute, because it's just, I'm not a last minute person normally. And so that, but with that being said, this is not business, this is a grant. This is a grant. Having enough money makes this decision much less complicated for me, but it is documented that it was sent in time. So technology happens, and this is a grant, not a business deal. So.
And the other thing I'd like to say is that the intent of this enhancement grant is to build community, to build connections, and build partnerships that work to better Oregon City. And so in that light, in that spirit, I also think we should be lenient.
I agree as well.
Okay.
All right.
I would like to suggest as we go through and approve these, I would like to have a caveat on this one that we approve it with the caveat that we have David ask Bill that question, and if there is a legal issue, that we would have to talk about that. Is everybody fine with that?
Yeah, we may be able to do kind of a vote saying to amend the bylaws for this one instance, given the documentation.
The problem is trying to do that after the fact is, it makes it just sound like you're changing the rules for one person, and that I would feel comfortable making the grant, but just having an opinion from the city attorney that it's okay, because I just want to have that done. And if it's not okay, then I think we have to say, it doesn't work this cycle.
Understood, Mayor. So why don't we'll take the vote of the committee whether or not to approve the grant contingent upon review and approval by the attorney. And then at that time, if the attorney says this is a concern, we'll immediately notify you and the committee. If the attorney says it's gray and it's up to this body to determine,
then it goes forward.
Then it goes forward. We'll move ahead with that.
And I also think it's really important to have to write down that there was documentation to prove that it was sent, so it doesn't set a precedence in the future for people to come back and say, wait a minute, I sent it, just to show that there was actual proof.
Yeah.
And Michelle, you have that documentation, right? No? Okay. All right.
And then don't wait till last minute, people.
I was just going to say, I think for anybody else that is watching or listening to this, that Commissioner Pauley is absolutely correct. I hate it too. Got away from us. We sent it. I had to have 3 other people review it. It should have gone at noon. And this is the kind of thing that can happen.
All right.
We all have to be careful.
I'll make one more comment too. I appreciate your patience as we determine this process. You can think the mayor has a good point that in the classic days, if I mailed in my RFP under sort of the city rules for a process, and the mailing didn't come in until the next day, it wouldn't be allowed. We're in this new modern age, but so thank you for indulgence with that, and we'll make a determination with the attorney.
And before you, can you give us your name and where you're from for the record, please?
Greg Fitzgerald, Clackamas Community College.
Thanks, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here's the deal. We have enough money to cover all the grant requests. So is there, what I'm going to say right now is there anything on here from anybody that you really want to talk about?
I don't know. I'm just wondering if we want to hear a little bit.
First, I want to do this.
Okay, all right. Okay.
So does anybody have anything they want to talk about?
I think they're all
In terms
interesting.
In terms of whether you don't like
Don't like
something,
the projects,
don't
or-
think something fits, anything along those lines?
No, I think they're great projects this
Yeah.
year. There's a big variety, and I think everything looks great.
Okay. So there is one for me, and it's not that I don't want to approve it, but I want to be clear that this isn't supposed to be an ongoing source of operating funds for particular nonprofits. So as we go forward, I would expect that if somebody like, say, Marketplace Oregon City it's seed money to get started and start moving forward. But after 2 or 3 years, this should not be a consistent source of income for any particular organization. So the Oregon City's Farmers Market comes to mind. They've been operating for 10 years. At some point, they have to be self-sufficient. So I'm just giving heads up to everybody that I'm not going to be the guy that's going to sit up here and give money to the chamber year after year or downtown Oregon City year after year after year after year. These are supposed to be individual projects, not operational funding. With that said, let's go ahead and take this one by one with the different organizations and give us 5 minutes or less on your project, and we'll start with community college. I think that's where you're headed, Mr.
Correct. Yeah, it's great.
Well, thank you. It's interesting to be back here a second time. This is a project that's been about 10 years in the making, and actually started with this gentleman behind me, with Jerry in the 70s. What we have is we have the headwaters of Newell Creek is is actually located on the college campus. Surrounding that is the John Inskeep Environmental Learning Center. As a capstone project for the college's 50th anniversary, the foundation and 8 other partners have taken on the project of restoring the habitat at the headwaters of Newell Creek to protect sensitive fish habitat downstream. We're the third in a series of projects at the confluence of Abernathy and Newell Creek. The Greater Oregon City Watershed Council has been working for years to remove invasives. Metro is now filling in the central part of the creek in the canyon and providing the trail thing, and then we would be improving the headwaters. The point of this is not just to do the environmental work, but that it becomes a public open space and community education, along with educating about 2,000 college students every year. So it's a multiple-use facility. It also will be handling additional stormwater from Oregon City High School, from the campus there. When this was first designed in 1970, there were a lot fewer hardscape areas around there, and we need to now take care of it. So the design of this, actually we just saw a different one yesterday, an improvement. It's taking basically a ditch that the Smuckers Corporation dug in the 50s to bypass Newell Creek and create settling ponds for a berry processing plant. It's returning it to a meandering stream in which water quality can be improved through residence time within that system. We would go from what's currently about 24 minutes to 24 hours. And we'll maintain constant flow, but also maintain standing water in the summer, since there are 2 springs in the area, for the aquatic habitat that lives there now. As I say, I just inherited this a few years ago, but there have been people in Oregon City working on this for a decade. So this is kind of the culmination, and we're putting together a rather large funding package to make this happen. And this is one piece of it.
Anybody have any questions?
Great. Look forward to it.
I have 2 questions. One is, does your facility handle the stormwater from the campus and kind of percolate that? And my second question is, so once it leaves the campus, does it go into a culvert or something and then come out the other end?
Yes, this is part of our stormwater master plan. We're looking for a sustainable, not highly engineered solution to this. We also have the foundation has purchased monitoring equipment through our Water and Environmental Technology program, so that we are teaching students in the, we actually bought a gas chromatograph. So we will have, it's interesting because our water students get jobs within 30 days. But this will add to, we will have the only one of these at Community College west of Denver. So we're going to make sure that the water is cleaner leaving than it is coming in. And it does go through a culvert under Beaver Creek and then flows down into Mill Canyon.
Great, thank you.
Anybody else?
Great, thank
All
you.
right, thanks, Greg.
Thank you.
Next, we have the Clackamas County Historical Society, and while they're coming up, I forgot to disclose a potential conflict, and that is that I am most recently was the chair of the board of the Willamette Falls Media Center, so I just want to make sure everybody knew that going in. So you are?
Karen Morey, Clackamas County Historical Society. And I was going to say you should all become members of the Historical Society so you can all have a conflict.
Be careful what you ask for.
This is true. And Commissioners, Metro Commissioner Collette and new Commissioner Mengelberg. I'm thrilled to be in front of you. This grant was actually prepared by a staff member who has left us for new opportunities, so I may not be up to speed on everything. However, it's something I greatly believe in. Over the last 4 years, we have improved the looks of the museum. We've reopened under our own power, our own financing. Starting next week, we will be open 5 days a week. We will be open Tuesday through Saturday, primarily through volunteers and donations, support from the community. Last year, we were able to repaint the second floor in deeper colors that really makes the exhibits pop better. One of our former executive directors commented that the exhibit floor on the second floor now hugs you when you walk in because it's warm and wonderful. Thanks to fundraising and matching donations, we recently completely converted to LED lighting with the help of Park and Electric. That is a truer spectrum light, which shows us how atrocious our lobby and stairway look. They are 25 years old. They were originally painted off white. They have been patched, beat up, touched, had things thrown on them. It's not an attractive welcome. Our second floor is beautiful. The lobby is not, and the stairs are truly not. Part of our income is derived from leasing out the third floor to a private vendor for events. And if you invite someone to go up the stairway to the third floor, it's not real impressive. The third floor is incredible. The view is to die for, but the stairway doesn't really welcome you or hug you like the rest of the museum. We also have a scary oak tree out front. Thanks to last year's Metro grant, we have just finished adding native plantings to the grounds. But the native oak is dead, dangerous, and you name it. And yes, the parking lot that's had some attention has some atrocious cracking. And so this grant would allow us to repair the parking lot, remove the oak tree, and paint the lobby and the stairway so that the entire building gives you a big hug when you come visit us.
You ready to do that, Dan?
So you were saying the hallway and the stairwell has not been painted for 25 years?
As we can't really tell when it was last painted, and we suspect it may have been this way from the very beginning.
So,
Wow, I think it
But-
might be time.
I believe it might be. Any
Okay.
questions?
great.
Questions, anybody? Thanks, Karen. Everybody's keeping to a pretty good time. Okay, next we have Clackamas County Juvenile Department. Is there somebody here?
Thank you. I'm Mark McDonald. I'm a supervisor of programs at Clackamas County Juvenile Department. And this is one of our youth, Ethan, who's a part of our Green Corps program. Our Green Corps program is a partnership with OSU Extension Office and the Juvenile Department. Our primary focus is to take youth and provide business learning opportunity. We have a garden behind the Juvenile Department. The youth have a fresh start market at the Saturday Farmers Market, where we have a barista, juice machine, and sell our produce. We also enjoyed a grant last year that you folks gave us that allowed us to expand our honey production, and which we call Sweet Justice. And so the youth have a lot of fun with that. We're asking this year for some dollars to improve a work shed out back where the youth have their tools for the garden. We're looking at using some organic techniques to have a worm garden to improve the soil. We're also looking at opportunities, for example, leadership training events that we can take the youth to. So those will be our field trip kinds of opportunities. And then to subsidize our stipend, this is a business profit sharing concept. So the youth, the more hours they work towards, they get a profit sharing element. So it has a strong vocational and job training aspect to it. And if you have any questions, Ethan's a very good spokesman, and he could certainly answer any questions related to what we're doing.
Carla?
Well, I was reading here that you started to build the raised beds last year and that you're going to complete them in May. Did you complete them?
They are completed now and
Excellent.
soil in.
That's great. I mean, I love this project. This is really exciting stuff. So
So how big's that shed, Ethan, that you're doing?
The shed is not that large. I can't remember the exact length of it, but it's kind of like a...
Probably an 8 by 10
Yeah.
tool
like that.
shed.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And it's plastic, and the windstorm kind of took its toll on it this year.
Yeah, so you're building a new one.
Yes.
So how big is that going to be?
I believe that it's a 10 by 12 wood shed that we're
Okay.
going to build.
You're trying to get the documents.
And then the worm business, is
Just gotta
that's
get
in a
documents
different
first.
building than other than this, or?
That's actually going to be an outdoor composting area. We're going to be gathering food scraps from the juvenile department, as well as we've already been doing coffee ground gathering throughout the county buildings, which we've used in our beds and will enhance the worm
Wow.
production.
Cool. How long you been doing it, Ethan?
This is my second year
Yeah.
doing Green Corps.
Good, all right.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, folks.
So with the addition of this new investment, are you envisioning that this program would be self-funding in the future?
We have a sustainable plan. We've had a couple of setbacks in some of our funding streams from the state, but again, we're looking at new and different ways of creating revenue. We have our woods program where the youth cut woods. The county donated logs this year, which creates the revenue for the wood sales. We have the barista and the juice market. This year, with the farmers market, it's been doing very well for us. We've had increased sales there. And Jackie has worked with us about marketing and making it more attractive to our customers. So yes, the long-term goal is to become sustainable and look for ways to make it a viable business enterprise for the youth.
You know, Councilor Collette, I've just had this thought as we begin to do more public tours and things this summer and in the future down at the Legacy Project. I wonder if we might be able to do in conjunction with these folks as far as like juice and barista kind of set up.
Oh,
down
that
there.
would be very
love that.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, to
that'd
have
be
you set
awesome.
up on site.
Mm-hmm.
That would be very cool.
That would be good. I have a question about, you mentioned the monetary share. Is that the stipend that you're talking about?
That's
in your-
correct. And so it's a combination of the stipend offsets the dollars that the youth earn, because we're nowhere near minimum wage or anything like that. Our educational component in partnership with the community college, because the youth earn college credits at a reduced rate. It's
great.
called a SMART internship program, allows us to kind of offset that. And so the component, it's not all money driven, but it's a balance of trying to make it a worthwhile enterprise for the youth's time and the number of hours that they're spending on the projects.
Great.
Anything else? Thanks, sirs.
Thank you.
Next, we have the DPAVE Eastham Community College or Eastham Community Center.
Hi, my name is Chelsea White Brainerd, and I am a board member of DPAVE.
And I'm Suze Moss. I work for the Oregon City School District, and I'm located at Eastham Community Center, where our community education department is located.
So you just want a little overview of the
Just
project?
tell us about your application.
We have an area outside one of our classrooms that was used previously by a tenant that is no longer at Eastham. It's an outdoor area that was used as like a science center, and it has a lattice gate. It's no longer in use, and right inside the gates, and you go in through a doorway, and it's the only community ed classroom that we have now at Eastham. We have quite a few tenants there, and I had this vision a couple years ago that I'd really like to use that area and create an outdoor classroom area, like a learning garden. We have ESD has their Heron Creek Academy there, which is a program for emotionally fragile children, ages K through 12. They're tenants there at Eastham. We also have our community ed department. We have classes for youth through adult. And we also have our early childhood department, which is ages 0 through 5. And I could just picture having a learning garden that our staff could even bring the toddlers in there in the wagons, and they could go through and watch plants grow and use it as a learning opportunity for all ages at Eastham.
So the courtyard right now is all pavement, and there's some raised beds that are falling apart built on top of the pavement. But what D-Pave does is, instead of just bringing in contractors and hauling away the pavement, we engage the community that will benefit from that new area. And so we engage volunteers to physically remove the pavement. And that way they're invested in and empowered to improve their own space. And so we'll have a big volunteer event, and we'll remove the pavement, and then the plan is to create a bioswale on one edge that will take the water from the roof over the deck and infiltrate it into the groundwater system, as well as some of the rainwater from the parking lot, and then create raised beds and do permeable pavers from the gate into the building so it's ADA accessible. And then we'll do all native plants in the bioswale, and we have plans to do bird houses and so we have plans to work with a lot of different classrooms to construct these pieces.
Yeah, what I did is I contacted the construction class at the high school, and they were going to donate some bird houses. We're the hub, really the hub of the community through the school district. And so connecting with having different partnerships in the community with community ed is really important. So bringing in, I contacted one of our local blueberry farms that was going to donate blueberry bushes. Syrian Sun Farms is going to donate starts throughout the year. This project will never be abandoned because Eastham is there. We're always there year round. That building is staffed even during the summertime. So we were all going to invest in the project.
Okay, thanks. Any questions?
Well, I guess that was my question too. It's I think we've seen a lot of projects where they all get started up and everything's happy, but when you two leave, how's maintained and carried on, for the duration and stuff. So is there a plan in place that who's going to carry that on
Yes.
after you're gone? So.
Yes, there is a plan. The staff at Eastham, with all of our different departments, we have our youth sports, our early childhood. We have community ed classes that have, we have students that want to keep this project going, parents that want to see the project continue. And
we've been meeting with maintenance staff as we go through here, so they've signed off on everything, so nothing is more than they can maintain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think it'd be a good one when Todd retires up there. That could be a good project for him
Yes.
to keep going on, right?
Yes,
Okay,
because
good.
Carol will never retire.
No, that's right. This is a good one for Todd. Okay.
That's right.
Anybody
Thank
else?
you.
No.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Jonathan, you're up. Main Street, Oregon City.
In any particular order?
Clean team, since that's the order.
First one, yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I don't have the agenda in front of me. So we're actually really excited about the Clean Team as a project for downtown. If you look at a lot of central business districts, part of the model to help improve economic success for the district is clean and safe, and so it's part theater, part cleaning, and as we're looking towards tourism in the future for downtown Oregon City, establishing and sort of working out the kinks and sort of creating this program, it creates positive associations when you see somebody sort of more or less constantly cleaning downtown, but then also somebody that might be knowledgeable to answer questions and friendly and approachable. But not every tenant downtown or landowner is as consistent with removing cigarette butts, keeping gum off the sidewalk, and all those kinds of things. And so this is a really good way to return value to the district economically, but also to make it more attractive for the citizens of Oregon City and our visitors. The way we're matching it, primarily there is some cash match, but we plan to organize 4 quarterly cleanups, so to speak, and that would be, we would identify 4 major projects that we would reach out to. We've reached out to Jerry possibly to help us in those capacities, but then also a legion of volunteers. And so one of the ideas we have is, how do we clean up the Railroad Avenue wall? These sort of big projects that the rest of the citizens in Oregon City would find compelling and interesting to be a part of. Then the second project is a micro-grant program. We've done a number of these through the years, and basically if you look at a sign downtown that you say, oh, that's a pretty cool sign, or that's an attractive storefront, or something that, generally speaking, it's been somehow helped along through a grant program, and some of them Metro funded, not necessarily Metro Enhancement funded, but Metro's been a partner in those types of programs with us in the past as well. So that program is essentially entirely cash match, because we'd be asking the applicants to be paying part of their way. And the nice thing about them engaging with us in that respect is that we then get to sort of say, we can help you along and create the best solution, rather than one that is maybe more bootstrapped than we would like with some of the signage that we've seen going in downtown recently.
Questions, Ron?
Jonathan, I did have 2 questions. Would there be a maximum amount for the micro loan or micro grant? And the second piece is, would there be overlap with the city's facade improvement program with the micro grant program?
I'm imagining that the vast majority of the users of the micro grant will be the tenants rather than the properties themselves. The way we've designed the grant so far is that there's 2 tiers. If it's signage, because this can fund lighting improvements, so we want downtown to shine at night, and merchandise to be visible, and businesses to be visible. But sometimes things that they might require for the business to be visible might be considered business specific, and in that case the grant amount is less. But if it's more what I might call infrastructure, like we're hiring an electrician to put wiring to a sign that didn't exist before, we're putting in sign brackets that are universal, those kinds of things, we would have a higher threshold for that type of grant.
So is there a maximum?
Right now, we've set it at $1,000, and then the lower tier was $500.
Questions?
We're open to input on that.
I have a question about the Clean Team program. So right now, is there any requirements for the businesses to clean, or who's responsible for it right now?
My understanding is that the only city ordinance that exists is that the sidewalk is safe. So clean doesn't, safe doesn't need to be clean.
Yeah.
And technically, the property owners are responsible for maintenance of their tree wells, planter strips, and that kind of thing. But not everyone has the same standard. that we would like them to have. So obviously, we're going to pair this with education and use the team as an opportunity to show people what we hope that they would aspire to.
So, if this is funded this year, what would the long-term funding scenario look like?
There's a couple of things that we've been have been considered. There might be an opportunity for us to sell services along this line, in which case that when we step out of the public realm into the private realm, then maybe they could help fund the team that way. So say some property owners want us to help maintain their parking lots or something, and then that would sort of spill over into the public space. Additionally, we're trying to drive forward with programming, but we have sort of, and the reason why we're asking for the grant is because we're still turning a ship around, and hopefully, that sort of our plan is such that our income is going to continue to grow in terms of our general fund income, that we could take more of this program, if not all of it, onto those resources in the future.
Great, thank you.
So just a comment, take heart what I said earlier, because there are other areas of Oregon City other than just downtown, and so we have to make sure that we are careful that all of these things try to be startup seed money rather than ongoing funding sources.
I don't intend for this to be an ongoing request. All right. We did check the box that we might come back next year, but if we do, the intent is at a much reduced ask.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan.
So Marketplace Oregon City is off the table. So Amber Holbeck, Oregon City Chamber. And Sandy Burns. Sorry, I didn't see you, Sandy.
Which one did you want first?
Best.
Okay, that would be me. Good evening, Sandy Burns. I'm the Assistant Director of the Oregon City Chamber of Commerce. Hello, Commissioners. Good to see you again, Councilor Collette. I was made aware of a staggering statistic a few months ago, excuse me, having to do with business readiness for disaster. After a survey after Katrina, they determined that 90% of businesses fail within 1 year unless they can resume operations within 5 days. Wow. Most businesses can't even come close to that. Several years ago, in 2008, the Oregon City Chamber of Commerce developed a BEST, it's called Business Emergency Survival Toolkit. And I have researched it diligently, but it doesn't go quite far enough. And so what I would like to do with this grant money is actually take it up several steps to make it a workbook that can be managed by businesses, specifically small businesses. I've been in the chamber a number of years, so I've been around a lot of businesses, and I know that businesses basically are trying to survive. They're hearing about disaster readiness from a number of voices: police, fire department, AMR, all the emergency responders. And it's like there are so many words coming at them, they tend to kind of shut down and say, you know what, I don't have time for that. What I would like to do is put it together in such a concise way that every single month at their staff meeting, they can take a bite of it, develop it, and begin to make the plan work, get it practiced, and even have it ready to go so that the minute an emergency happens in their location or their business, they immediately, every staff member knows exactly what to do and can go into action. And we can help them do everything they can to meet that critical 5-day window to get back into business. A disaster can be anything. It can be anything that interrupts your business. It can be a car coming through the front door, getting a call to find out that the pipes have broken. It doesn't always have to be a catastrophic thing. If it closes their business, they need to have a plan. And the interesting thing about that business plan, having researched with the county and with the state and FEMA, the number one task, the number one job, the first step is getting your home in readiness as well, so that your staff can get back to work immediately. I have verbal commitments from CERT, from AMR, Clackamas Community College, City of Oregon City, with Clackamas County Emergency Management Team. I have a written approval from Clackamas Fire District 1, who will also serve to help distribute this in their annual business meetings, going around checking up with the businesses.
Inspections.
And inspections, thank you, that's a good word. And the Oregon City Police Department have given us a written approval of this. So I just stand ready to go to action as soon as the approval is given by you folks.
Okay, questions?
Yeah, I think this is great. I think it's really important to have everything written down in a handbook. What really interested me though was you talked about having like a temporary location or something where business could, and to me, like if your lines are down and you can't use the fax machine or the internet or something to conduct business, having a place that you can go to just to keep the wheels turning, I think that's pretty amazing. Tell me more about that and like what type of location and what.
That depends completely upon the staff, really. For the Oregon City Chamber of Commerce, we might say Bugatti's might be the right place for us.
The still house.
That's my vote.
Well, we know where the Metro Council's at.
It could be Clackamas Community College. It could be someplace completely away
Maybe
from the
someone's
business.
home. Yeah.
It might be going to Amber's home for us. The important thing is that in fact, I was recommended by, no, let me rephrase that, a woman who speaks nationally on this suggested that we help the management of a business take the courage to pick up the phone just some random day and saying, we're in an emergency situation, we have to meet off-site, and hang up the phone. And so that staff understands they have to be a part of the learning of this. It's not a matter of just, somebody will pull me through at the last minute. It's those surprise movings that will keep this thing alive and keep it in front of people's minds and getting staff to learn. The cool thing about it is that the instructions fit very nicely in just 12 steps. And every month, as I spoke before, it becomes a part of the staff meeting, and then every staff member has a piece of that plan.
Okay, anybody else?
I'd like to say I like this for several reasons. One is that it hits all the businesses, not just big businesses, not just downtown businesses, but all businesses, and that it's a reminder every year. And also that it can cover a lot of different situations. When I first saw the title, I thought, well, we don't have earthquakes that often, and we do have floods occasionally, but it's been a while. So I'm glad that you clarified that it could be all kinds of different emergencies, and that makes it even more applicable. So thank you for bringing it forward.
Thank you.
Commissioner Shaw?
You know, I know you saw is it the state that has one already developed, Sandy, or something that you looked at and decided that wasn't enough? Or?
Actually, it was the Oregon City Chamber that
already has
developed
one.
it.
Okay, I got you. Okay, so great. Okay, I noticed. I can see why you're taking it a little seriously because of the location of your building. With what's what's going on down below you there? So yeah.
You do take your data off-site every night, right? Amber.
Good evening. Thank you once again. Certainly appreciate you taking a very active role in ensuring that there are avenues to support some great projects that are happening to improve the livability of Oregon City and some of our economic viability. So appreciate it all. I am representing tonight the High School Job and Career Exploration Fair. And this is something that, as chamber staff, well, first of all, my background having been career and technical education, an educator in that field, I've noticed that unfortunately the Oregon City School District doesn't have the financial backing to provide a really strong exploration of career and technical education. There are opportunities here and there, but it's a piece that students really need to have available to them to explore at a much earlier phase in their high school education. And in speaking with our superintendent of Oregon City School District, Larry Didway, as well as the principals for CASE, which is the Clackamas Academy of Industrial Sciences, and the principal at the Oregon City Service Learning Academy, as well as the new principal at Oregon City High School, they are all very much on board with a joint effort for a high school exploration fair that would take place this fall. It would be our effort to bring in local employers, whether it be your businesses, nonprofit organizations, even public agencies. We would bring in colleges, universities, and other kinds of resources that help kids think beyond what they're experiencing that day in school. Unfortunately, the requirements being what they are for our children's education, they really, at least at Oregon City, don't really have an opportunity until their senior year to really seriously explore where they're headed. There are some elements that are unique to CASE where really career is the focus throughout, which is fantastic, but we want to provide that to all of those students. And our exhibit booths would be very robust, and we'll be inviting trade schools. We already have some good lines on contacts with trade schools that would be very eager to be part of that. We'd like to invite other area private schools to get those students incorporated into that exploration effort. Our goal is really to help these students explore meaningful career and job opportunities that maybe they're not really thinking about. A number of students are already very either college-bound or college-oriented, or maybe I want to be a firefighter or what have you. And then there's a lot of students in between that really don't know what I'm all about and where I'm headed. And we're trying to just provide an avenue to get them going in that direction. Another component that we'd like to include in this is resume reviews, so have the students ready with a resume, or at least a starting resume, so that they can be fishing for on-the-job training opportunities with these employers, work experience, and then maybe some mock interviews. Again, trying to get kids thinking about what working for an employer would be like and what they have to have ready. Let's see, just today, just as a quick example, just today I heard that there is a nationwide shortage of EEG technicians. So the electroencephalograph, or is that right?
Electroencephalograph, yes.
Yeah. 5,500 are available nationwide, or are working in that field nationwide. They need to have 20,000 by the year 2020. There's a huge gap there. And just even talking with a local business, Park and Electric, they work so hard to find folks that are willing to get into even an apprentice program where you can be earning money and gaining the on-the-job training that you need to really be successful in those areas. So we have needs right here in Oregon City that can be met by these students, and there's just a disconnect. So we want to help build that connection piece. Let's see, great partners that we have on board thus far. I've already named those folks from the school district, but I anticipate the ESD coming on board, Education Service District. Hopefully our friends and neighbors at Clackamas Community College will want to be a strong partner, and WICO, Workforce Investment Council of Clackamas County. And then one other focus also for our local Rotary Club is that really wanting to play a stronger role in that vocational service area. So some really fine connectors.
I think this is a wonderful project. More and more workforce is the issue for employers. They're finding it a harder and harder time now that have emerged from the recession, finding people that have the skills that are able to work for them. And so we're really doing a service for our business community by helping to connect our local teens and future employees to our local businesses.
Exactly.
Amber, I just want to commend the Chamber for their work and specifically the 10 years that you've been with the Chamber, because I've seen it start with, like most chambers, really centered at their membership, at giving tools and providing for their members. And I've seen the shift from that, still doing that, but also to giving tools to create people that are job ready and looking at the bigger picture, looking at the workforce and the environment, the business environment, and the steps that are being taken. And this, starting with the youth, I mean, you're really starting at the core. And I think this is an amazing project. And youth, they're one of the biggest unemployed. And they're looking for jobs, they're looking for work experience, and you don't know where to start.
And
so,
I've got documentation that goes right to what you just said.
Mm-hmm. So good job, ladies.
Councilor Collette?
Well, I also love this program, and from a slightly different perspective, and that is of kids who don't know what the opportunities are. We recently had a group in at Metro from Self-Enhancement Inc. in North Portland, and they were describing how they didn't know what careers were. They didn't know what the job options were. They didn't know that they didn't have to have a doctorate to work as an electrician. That for them, the concept of going on to college. That's right. But the idea of for a lot of them, the idea of college is. And I grew up in a family where I'm the baby of 9 and the only one to go to college, and so I completely get not knowing what the choices are, because my older siblings didn't have them. And so I think a program like this, whenever we can encourage kids to see what the opportunities are, it's really remarkable, because they're ready. They will fill those spots. They will take those classes if they know that they're out there. So I also applaud you. I think it's great. And you're asking for so little. Not to say that you should.
I was going to say, is it too late to amend? We can take care of that.
Too late.
Shaw.
Come back next year.
Mr. Shaw. Okay. I really appreciate the fact when people are kind of thinking outside the box here a little bit and starting these programs like this. Case in point is like, well, case. Mm-hmm. There's a success story, that there's over 200 kids in that program there. And so with your program, Amber, and I really appreciate what you're doing too, Sandy. So, but Amber, what is the grade level that you anticipate this program for?
We're really going, in fact, it's funny, I think the way that we had planned it with the school district administrators is that it's a half day on purpose, that the students will be in the school, and those seniors get kicked out the rest of the day. And so it'll really be the freshmen through juniors that will be the focus of this job and career fair.
Yeah,
what
that's
about
great.
the seniors?
Yeah.
I think it's some kind of a testing, I think it was a testing day or something like that.
Yeah. Even early, I mean, this is great. Anytime
if seniors
the
wanted
earlier
to go
you can
through,
get kids that want this, even if it was 8th or 7th grade. But this is a
Sure.
great way to start.
Yep.
See how it goes, and maybe you increase that to another age.
Well, and what I was going to add too is it's actually designed to go a little bit into the evening to allow if parents with younger children want to come through as well, they're welcome to do so.
Well, the parents might even appreciate this
Yeah.
too. So
Absolutely.
you don't even know what you're starting here. So.
Exactly.
So,
okay.
the one question I have is what is the plan going forward? So beyond this year,
Correct.
What happens next year?
Right. Well, my anticipation, in all likelihood, this may require, based on the success of the first year, in all likelihood, would probably seek a second year's worth of some funding. But I'm hoping that the institutions that we bring to the table are going to set aside, and we'll begin to ask them to set aside funds to support this effort. Because I think this is I would like to think this is a very fundable event and experience.
Like at $50 a table or something.
Well, you have a lot of partners.
Oh,
so
yeah.
People just have to pony up a little. And
Exactly.
You go.
It's to their
Okay.
advantage, yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, thanks.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
The Oregon City Farmers Market.
Good evening, Commissioners and Mr. Mayor and Councillor Collette. My name is Jackie Hammond-Williams. I'm the manager of the Oregon City Farmers Market. I've managed it for 8 years. It's been in existence for 10. However, the funding that we are asking for from this grant is to fund the banners and advertising of the winter market that has been going 5 years. And the reasoning is that we are moving from our downtown location to our uptown location, and we're going to brand the market in one location year-round. We're very excited to make this move. We think we're going to be able to attract more customers, and by attracting more customers, we'll be able to bring in more vendors. And by bringing in more vendors and more customers, we're building the capacity of the market. And as you heard earlier from the Green Corps, when we build capacity of the farmers market, it affords us opportunity to offer experiences for other nonprofits and groups to take advantage of the marketplace that we create.
Questions?
Great. Success story, right there.
So is the regular farmers market going to continue downtown on Wednesdays, or is that gone?
That is gone.
Okay.
The Wednesday market was a little strangled by the redirection of the two-way traffic. The bridge light backs up traffic on Main Street. It was really quite difficult. And we also felt that with our limited resources, that it would be better to have a really strong year-round Saturday market. It would benefit the community and the farmers better to have a year-round one. And we're really excited. This last winter, twice we attracted over 1,000 people to that winter market. And we actually filled several times the 8th Street site. So it was sort of a no-brainer to approach the county and ask them if we may use their site year-round, and they said because we had taken such great care of it for 10 years that they would have no problem. And I have a letter of documentation from Mark Gonzalez to say that.
Okay,
So
great.
we're very excited to increase and build the winter market now.
Do you already have your year-round banners up? I thought I saw them saying the year-round market, or is that just in print materials? I've seen it somewhere.
No, we've started to try and sow that seed about year-round, but with the winter market banners, they're going to say winter market, because even though people hear year-round, my experience is they see flowers and summer fruits on the banners and they think, oh yes, it means every year. But when you put on the banner the pumpkins and the winter squash and the root vegetables, and you say the words winter, then they go, oh, okay, it is in the winter, because it's still quite an anomaly. People don't realize that there are winter markets. Right. So.
Anybody else? All right.
Thank you, Jack.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oregon City, on behalf of Willamette Falls Legacy Project and Willamette Falls Legacy Project Friends, who's doing this one?
Nobody here? I thought it was me and Linda.
All right. Well,
Jonathan, can you?
No,
Oh my
it's
goodness.
fine. I think I think all of us up here are fairly well familiar with the Legacy Project. So we'll just move on to the Rivers of Life Center.
If I could just speak,
okay.
Jerry, just before you do that, I think one of the things I wanted to say about that Willamette Falls project, I really I have visited a number of projects that are in progress, including the Mills project in Minneapolis, and those signs are really important. They really do. They will attract attention. They will tell the story. So not having someone here to defend it, I'll speak for it. It really is great to be able to tell the story of what's happening behind the fence.
Well, I think that's important too, and announcing when there's tours, and I get questions every day about this project, so I think it's really important. And hopefully on the signage they'll have the website to direct
they
people
will.
to, so anybody can go anytime and find out what's going on.
And hopefully we'll be able to use this. It's a small amount, but I just checked in today, and it does look pretty good that the legislature might be awarding us some more challenge money. And maybe this can go towards the challenge. I'm not sure, but I would guess that it could. It's a small amount, but still, every penny counts.
Sure.
So good project.
Jesse?
Oh, there, Jesse. Hi.
I'm not authorized on behalf of the group, which doesn't exist technically yet.
I suppose if it doesn't exist, they couldn't authorize it.
So really, I am authorized by the Neighborhood Association for McLaughlin to talk just a quick second, since we're not spending much time. We attached a letter of support to the application, which you should have, saying, great, go for the 2 signs. We'd also suggest, as a neighborhood association, please consider putting one on the promenade as well, because there's so much traffic there. And doing the math on this, not making motion to amend the application, but that would take another $6,500 to have an additional sign. So if you have extra funds left over at the end of tonight, do 3 signs instead of 2. Have one on the promenade, because people go over there, we all do, and look at the falls from up high. There's more people up here on the promenade than down at the entrance.
Apply next year.
So there's that answer too. Yes.
We've decreased funds. I don't know that we've ever increased.
No, I don't think we can do that without a formal application, but good try.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Well done.
Wyatt forgot his calculator, Jesse, so we can't do it.
Okay, Jerry, you're up. I remind you have 5 minutes.
Real quick, Mr. Mayor and councilors. Linda Van Haverbeck and her husband Steve are members and officers in the Park Place Neighborhood Association. They're one of our partners. Brian Boyce is not here tonight. He's the chairman of the Two Rivers Neighborhood Association. That's another partner. Metro, we work with Metro with their wetland folks that operate the Metro South Transfer Station. That's another partner. And of course, the Oregon City Junior ROTC program has been instrumental. We do gateway projects. This is called Oregon City Historic Gateways. This is 2 different gateways. We've done in the past 3 years the downtown and a bunch of plantings and improvements in the tree wells, which we still maintain. We've also done the Strait Cemetery, which is another gateway project near Metro South, which we still maintain. And we just finished up the Forsyth Park Place Clackamas River Boulevard Gateway, which we still maintain. So when we do these projects, we continue to maintain them. I want to emphasize that. Each project is different. Or attempting and intending to do is 6 acres of land this year. That would bring the total of things we've done to about 20 acres now, the previous ones I told you about. The new 6 acres would be 5 acres by the Metro South Transfer Station, which is a demolition area of materials that have been stored there for some time by the city. We're going to clean that up and make it into a good parking area and make the whole landscape approach to that area around Home Depot on that side of the road look more attractive and serve as a parking lot, real parking lot for the Metro South wetland and visitors that we hope will come in more abundance there because they have a clean way to get in there. It's very dangerous to get in there right now. The second project is the Holcomb Park Place Abernathy Gateway, which many years ago when I was donating my time to direct Oregon City cleanup, we cleaned that up some years ago. The Park Place Neighborhood Association has put in a beautiful sign there, but the site is overgrown with berry vines and other areas and it needs attention. We want to go up the entire length of Holcomb before it makes the turn, 200 feet behind a strip mall there, and clean up that whole hillside. And then in general, prune and thin the trees properly so that you can see the signage and other improvements made there. And generally, in those 2 areas, make a statement about Oregon City being a more attractive area.
So, question, Jerry. Blackberries are so persistent. What happens the next year after they get cut down and they regrow?
All right. When we treat these slopes, we cut them down, but we also treat them by hand painting on a herbicide, which is a registered herbicide that we're allowed to use, Crossbow and Roundup. Put that down. That's what you use. In the fall, when they're taking and translocating all their things back to their roots, they take that to the roots and it kills them outright. It also works very well on ivy. I didn't mean to get into a horticultural discussion here, but that's the procedure you need to use with these really tough invasive plants.
Linda Van Haverbeek, and my husband and I are the core of the Park Place Neighborhood Service Committee, and we've been with Jerry doing the 2 neighborhood gateways and the Straight Pioneer Cemetery, and we maintain Holcomb Road. Not wonderfully, and getting harder to do. And so we're trying to take some pride in our neighborhood. We got a lot of really good feedback about the Forsyth Clackamas River Drive site that Jerry just finished. And our neighborhood, while it doesn't have any funding, we found some money and bought lunch for the guys when they cleaned up the Straight Pioneer Cemetery on April 3rd. So we try to support them because they're important members of our community and give them lots of kudos, and they give us lots of kudos. And so it's important to the neighborhood to take some pride.
By the way, behind you is the youth corps, and there are boys and girls, young men and young women. And you have Cody, put up your hand. You have Jacob, he's my football player, he protects me. And then we also have Joshua. So that's just a small sampling of the folks that work on these things.
Questions, anybody?
I was just going to make a quick comment. To me, this is what this grant is really about, is cleaning up areas, improving the image and livability of the city, and really, getting a handle on that, having pride in our community. So every project that you've done has been great, and it looks like it's being maintained too, so I think that is important.
How many youth do you have in your program there, Jerry?
Well, I went to pick up Jacob today, and there's 130 of them up there at the high school. I didn't realize that last year there's 90. I don't use 130. Sometimes we involve up to 40. When we help Jonathan in the downtown, we hope this next year, part of those 4 major cleanups, we will probably mobilize up to 40 young people at a time, which is really a good workforce.
Great. Yeah. Appreciate your efforts.
Jerry, I have a question.
All right.
So, Jerry.
Yes, sir.
I have a question. So, looking at this map of the Holcomb Park Place Gateway, who owns all this property that you're working on?
It's all city property.
No, it's
I'm sorry, Holcomb Park Place.
ODOT. No,
Right.
ODOT owns that property.
Right behind the building.
All right.
The other site is owned by the city of Oregon City and also Metro.
Those are nice shirts. Where do you get them?
Yeah. Say again?
I said those are nice shirts. Where do you get them?
Oh, God, here we go. There's my card. Yeah.
I have another quick question. So I see there's a path through this site. Where do you access that right now? And
Presently, that path starts at a series of beautiful stairs that come down to a parking lot off the side of the hill. I'm talking about the Holcomb Park Place Gateway now. Okay. Okay. And it comes off a series of beautiful stairs and comes on down to a parking lot. We're hoping to extend that. We intend to extend that more closely to the edge of the road where there's a sidewalk.
Okay.
I'll have to explore that.
Thanks, Jerry.
Great. Thanks, Linda. Thanks, Jerry.
Okay, finally we have Melody Ashford, Willamette Falls Media Center.
Hello, everybody. I'm Melody Ashford, Willamette Falls Media Center, 1101 Jackson Street, and we're in the old art barn.
Shelley Ostrowski, her assistant.
So thank you all for providing this opportunity. This is the first time we've gone for something like this. We're just still learning how we can utilize these kind of community grants to enhance things as we're a growing nonprofit center. We're in the old Art Barn building, which is 100 years old. We're very fortunate to be in that building. It's a great location. But the front of it is kind of not great. The sidewalk's broken up, and the district has done quite a bit of work on the sidewalks, as I think was required by the city. And so there's these nice, beautiful white sidewalks, and then you walk up over the hill, and it's just all kind of crunched up and not in great shape. So our grant request is about fixing up that front area. There's that iconic
window. It's really beautiful, and making kind of like a community patio. A lot of the neighbor kids, it's pretty sweet to watch them. They'll come up, and there's that old entryway. It's almost like a stage, and they'll come up and play, and it's really kind of a neat thing. But it's got a beautiful area that we hope to have like little media productions out there and so forth, and just have a nicer looking area as you drive by.
Comment? Are you going to?
No, she was.
Okay.
So,
Well,
They just always go everywhere in Paris.
Right, they're attached. I'm looking at the goals that you checked off, and since, as you said, you're just new to this whole process, you could have checked off a whole lot more.
Probably.
This project, it's about number 8, rehabilitate or upgrade market value of housing or commercial property. The enhance art and culture within the city. I mean, all of those are influenced by this project. So I think that I'm just going to kind of guess that you're going to get this grant tonight. But if you do come back, keep in mind that there's a lot more that you're influencing more than just those couple of little checks that you checked off.
In addition, we're also making a video project out of it.
That's
we
right.
have we're fortunate enough to have met a gentleman. He's worked with Parrot Creek also, Chris Crawford, and he's a master mason. And he's actually originally from England, and himself has a very interesting, long story I won't go into, but he's an amazing, interesting character, and he's going to share his 40 years of masonry skills and teach this stone building.
So cool.
And so we're going to be shooting a whole program about it as they do this project. So we're going to involve some youth to learn this. And again, he's from England, so he's got the very old-time kind of approach. And he's really, with his new nonprofit that he started, he really wants to start teaching youth to how to work with their hands and, really learn a craft. So we're excited to be able to work with him also. And in addition, all of these people and their programs, would make great community programs. So, anybody that wants to track their project and make a media program out of it, we're here to help you. And, more content for the channel. It's pretty cool.
Never stop selling.
Nope, never do.
I have a question.
And I'm sorry, go ahead.
Is the vision for the masonry that it kind of matched the style and the color and the material of the building itself, which is beautiful?
Absolutely. And I don't have all the technical terms, but the pavers that are going to be put in are the kind that, what is it? They have spaces between them, so it's
Pervious?
Yeah, impervious. There you go. And then, everything is going to be built so it kind of blends with the building and doesn't whoa, what'd you do here? So.
So this is not your entrance. Your entrance is on the side. I don't think I've ever seen this angle of the building.
That's because you typically go down Jackson Street.
Right.
If you were on
exactly.
What is that?
JQ.
JQ. That's the corner of JQ and 11th.
And that was the original entrance of the school.
So this is almost a carbon copy of the steps are an almost carbon copy of the steps that go into the park at the swimming pool.
Right. Exactly.
And there's another couple of examples of those steps sprinkled around the McLaughlin neighborhood as well.
There's a lot of traffic there too. It's amazing how much, especially with Case being there also. There's a lot of traffic that comes there, and there's great parking lot. Case has really done well with the building over there, and then here's the front of this building that's just kind of
So right now, it's basically where the doors were, it's just boarded up.
Yeah. We're talking about painting a faux door there, so it's be kind of this neat little kind of poetry.
Isn't there
type thing.
there's a name for that kind of painting?
Trompe l'oeil.
There you go. That's the one.
Because that will never be your entrance. It's just
No.
going to be an outside area.
Right.
So another added feature of having the patio on this side is that I believe it would be on the north side of the building. Is that correct?
It's on the west side of the building.
West side.
It's away from the school.
Northwest.
So if you ever need a 205 report, call us.
Well, I guess my point is that if it's where I'm imagining it to be, there's a beautiful view
It
out
is.
over the river, and I think you could even see Portland from there. So it'd be a nice place to hang out
Yeah, absolutely.
for that reason.
Well, and I wanted to follow up on your suggestion about having the other projects videotaped as well, because one of the things I want to do with this program is bring it to my Metro councilors and show them the kind of work that's going on in Oregon City with the enhancement grants. In the past, we've brought the Oregon City High School project out, and they did a demonstration for the council, and the council loved it. The Metro Central always has people come in and they present and talk about the grant application. So the more we can document this program and all the projects, the better in terms of just building support, and not just for the program, but for Oregon City.
Well,
I'm your biggest cheerleader.
Well, thank you. Well, and just a little off topic, but since we have the mic for a minute, we will be having a mobile van. I saw Dan look at the light. We will be having, we have a mobile van that we're building right now that's been supported through Clackamas County PEG funds that will be hitting the road, and you'll see this great van in probably about 3 weeks. So, again, if the different people that have their grants in that would like us to come over and roll in and shoot some spots with them, we're going to be fully mobile, so it's going to be good.
That'd be great.
Nice. Anything else?
Right.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
Oh, here, I show you. So I did basic electronics on the lower level there.
Oh, yeah.
When the high school was still in that site. Okay, so that takes care of all of our grant requests.
Mayor, I'd like to ask if you could...
No.
Could you confirm a vote on the request for extensions? We're not certain that we had a vote on that. We voted on the minutes, but not
We
sure.
did a by acclamation.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
So we can either take a break, or we can, is there some long, extensive discussion we need to have, or I'm willing to entertain a motion, whatever you prefer to do.
I move we accept all of the grant applications as presented.
And I'll second that, and I'd like to comment as well when we have opportunity.
Do you mean you move to approve all the grant
Yes,
applications? Okay. So moved by Commissioner Megelberg, seconded by Councilor Collette. Discussion.
Well, if I might.
You may.
This is, every year we have this whole set of grants, and I have to say, nothing bad about the past years, but this is the best set I've seen yet. And as I was reading them, I was just really moved by how this community comes together, how you work as partners, how you work on your environment, your downtown. I mean, there's so much pride, and there's so much community support, and such great partnerships that go on in this community. And this is just a small sampling tonight of the kinds of projects that are happening here. As I said, I am one of your biggest fans. I am always praising Oregon City. My husband wants to move here, so I'm glad I love it, because he's down here painting pretty much every day now that the weather's nice. If you go over to Clackamas Park, the one right on the river.
Clackamas Park.
Clackamas Park. You'll see my husband painting every morning. He has a show up right now, not to plug too many, but up at Red Soils.
I was trying to get Jerry to help me, but he wouldn't bite. So.
I really love all these. I really think that this is a great set. I love the emphasis on youth. I love the emphasis on engaging people, leveraging what is really a pretty small amount of money to do the amount of work that you're talking about doing. It's just really tremendous, and it says a huge amount about Oregon City and your culture and your pride in this community. So thank you for applying. I'm really glad we have enough money to award everybody what you need.
Commissioner Polly?
I would just have to pretty much ditto that. I think she said everything. It is that I've been on this committee a long time also, and this is a really good variety of projects. And I agree, the partners, most projects also include another partner, and I think that's really important. It kind of creates that web of working together and building upon itself.
Commissioner Shaw, you've always got something to say.
Well, this is my first time doing this, and as I was wandering through all of these applications here for the last, I think I started this a couple weeks ago, not last night, a couple weeks ago, and I was getting worried. I'm saying, these are all great projects. How do you make a decision here? You know, so I was thrilled when we kind of found out that they were all going to get funded. So that made my decision a lot easier. And it's great projects. I just didn't realize there was this many out there, and I'm sure there's a lot more. So we encourage everybody to out there in TV land to come and see us next year too, and do that. And I do want to recognize Phoebe over here too, because I know a lot of times everybody came up and addressed the commissioners and Councilman Carletta here, and you know, and forgot about Phoebe over here. So I
was just about to ask her if you had anything to say.
Just the same as what most people said. I really appreciated the variety and especially all the collaborations. Yeah.
Commissioner Mengelberg.
Everything that I would have said has already been said and more eloquently.
Okay, there you go. All right, then I think on this one I'd like to call a roll if there's no further discussion.
Alrighty. Carol Polly?
Aye.
Brian Shaw?
Aye.
Carlotta?
Yes.
Sorry. Renata Mengelberg?
Aye.
Phoebe O'Leary?
Aye.
And Dan Holliday?
Aye.
Motion passes to approve all the grants at $148,159.
Okay. So,
I really want to thank everybody for coming. It's great to hear in detail about your project from your perspective. So it does mean a lot for you to come and speak on behalf of your project. Thank you.
okay, so is there anything else? We have a future agenda items thing on here. I'm not
We've
sure
got
why.
a couple discussion items.
We do.
Just two kind of quick things. If you recall from the minutes from last year, the committee had wanted to bring forth a plaque concept that could be put towards projects, physical projects, to recognize the use of Metro funds and Oregon City Metro Enhancement. And at that time, Commissioner Smith was agreed to go ahead and throw together two concepts, and those are in your packet. Just wanted to get a consensus on if there was one or the other that you guys wanted to utilize or not.
I liked number 1. I think that's the one with the. Nope, I like number 2 best.
Yeah, so number 2 would have the project name, the sponsoring organization, the date, and then state that it was funded through the Metro Enhancement funds.
I like having the sponsoring organization's name on there.
I do too.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we have a consensus on
The consensus on using number 2.
number 2.
Is what
Number
I'm hearing.
2.
Okay, I will get with Rocky and we'll get that in process. Secondly, we just wanted to make sure that you guys had the new intergovernmental agreement that has been signed by both Metro and by the city that will take effect July 1, which increases the tipping fee from the 50 cents to the $1. And all the details are involved or in that if you really if you read through it. So if there's any questions you had on that, we would entertain any questions.
I just wanted to say this, I think it was actually a couple years ago when Mayor Neely and City Manager Frazier brought to our attention the fact that the funds had not changed in the 30 years, or however long we've had the program, but the facility's been there 30 years. We were recognizing the 30th anniversary. So it became one of my priorities to figure out a way to double the funds. In order to do that, it's always so much more difficult than you think. We ended up having to go through creating a whole lot more enhancement funds around the region, getting everybody at the same fee, but ultimately, we were able to double the enhancement funds for Oregon City. So I'm really excited, and I think the money is so well spent here. It's a program I'm very proud of. You should be very proud of.
He's got to learn to boil the frog.
To do what?
Boil the frog.
boil the frog.
There we go.
Meaning you raise rates a little bit every couple years rather than waiting 30 years to do
Yeah,
it.
that would have.
The poor frog.
On the other hand, if you can double it with one fell swoop, go for it, right?
Then the frog jumps out of the pan. Let's see. Okay, so any other questions about that stuff? Future agenda items? Then we're adjourned.